Have we had fun, gang? Has it been good so far? Yeah. Awesome. It sounds like it. Sometimes you never know with comedy shows. I'll be honest. As a comedian, sometimes you get up here and you perform, and afterwards you get off the stage and you're like, that was a mistake. That was bad. But here's the thing about me. No matter how good or bad this set goes, this will not be the biggest mistake I've ever made. Because a few years ago, I voluntarily took a Zoom modeling class.
For gays?
Are you looking? That was so oddly specific. Like, man, I've been looking for a gay Zoom modeling class all my whole day. Finally, I'm gonna come to a comedy show and ask a complete stranger. I appreciate it. I get weird compliments all the time, and this is something someone come up to me recently and said. They said, and sure you'll appreciate this. He said, Drew, I think you're the best gay clean comedian in Nashville. And I'm straight. But compliments and, credits, right? Credits are credits. We need them as comedians. Like, tell all your friends, I am the best. Anyway. Here's what's been happening to me lately, as you can just have witnessed. I'll be in conversations with people, and they think I'm gay. And I think I'm straight. And then it gets so confusing after that. No, I'll give you guys some insight. They're like, the conversation or your sexuality? We don't know. So this is something that happened. Okay. I got more jokes. I'll give you a moment on each of them, but this is what happened recently, and I'll give you guys some inside baseball and stand-up comedy. If you're ever hosting at a comedy club for a big headliner, your dream and goal is at the end of the show for the headliner to come up to me like, you were fantastic, come on the road with me. And you all, a few months ago in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is where all comedy dreams happen, that almost happened. This lady, she came up to me, spoiler alert, she thought I was gay just like you did 5 minutes ago. So she comes, and I'm not picking up on it, but I should. She's like, you know what, more people need to hear from people like you and your demographic. Which is a straight white male. I was like, yeah, not enough people tell us that. Yeah, absolutely. And I should say this about this lady. She was the oldest comedian I'd ever seen in my life. She had to be 6,000 years old. She was ancient, maybe Jesus was her joke teacher. I don't know. She was that joke, why did the chicken cross the road? Her joke, okay? So there's a little bit of a language barrier. So she looks at me and she asks me this question. I'm gonna kind of see if any of you all know it, have ever heard it. I hadn't. She looks at me and says, "Are you part of the family?" Okay, so some of you already know. I did not. For the ones that are as confused as I was, back in the 1400s or whenever this lady was from, you couldn't openly talk about your sexuality. So if you were gay and if you were into someone else is gay, you'd say, "Are you part of the family?" And if they were, they'd say yes. I didn't know that was a thing. When she asked if I was part of the family, I thought she was asking if I'm Italian. Which I am. So I was like, yeah, when you're here, your family, oh my goodness, you would have thought my career took off at that point. Everything was going great. We were passing out business cards. We were getting our tour dates together. Things were going great. Then she said, oh, you could even bring your boyfriend if you want. First of all, humbled that she thought I had a boyfriend. That was pretty nice of her. And then I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not gay. And then she instantly lost interest in me. Not the first time that's happened with the women. And then she gave me my business card back and she said, call me when you suck a dick and I'll take you. I know, right? So we're going on tour next week. Because I found a Zoom modeling class for men and I met a guy who was cool with it, all right? So I brought him to the show tonight. It's fine. I will go ahead and answer what you all are thinking now. Yes, I did peak in high school. Listen, it is true. When I was in high school, I was the lead guitar player in a Christian punk rock band. I know, right? I said that at a show a few weeks ago, and this man in the back of the room yells, "Save some pussy for the rest of us." Not exactly a chick magnet instrument. I don't know if anyone else is thinking about playing guitar to pick up the ladies, but when we go and tell you, it doesn't work. But when I was in high school, I really thought it did. That was why I picked that instrument. I saw one 80s music video. I was like, that's what I'm missing. And so I'd be at church camp for our gigs, you know, play all these different church camps, and then I'd be into the same girl as some of these other guys, and then we get in arguments. I remember one year specifically, this guy was like, I don't know, man. She just seems more into me. And I remember with all the confidence of a 12-year-old boy, I said, yeah, but you just wait till she hears my guitar solo at tonight's worship night. And y'all, I remember that year, she did hear my guitar solo, and 2 years later, she became a lesbian. Right? Because if I can't have her, no man can, is what I'm saying, all right? That's alpha male dominance right there. Of course, whenever I tell people I used to be the lead guitar player in a Christian punk rock praise and worship band, the obvious question is always, what was your band name? And good Lord, if I could change any one thing in history. Okay, the Holocaust would be number one. But this would be a close second. Because me and 4 other Christian high school boys, we named our band, because we were trying to pick up the women, we named our band Vertical Motion. Oh, no. I know. I'm sorry. That is a true... That's not a joke. That's just me confessing dumb things in my life. And the worst part is they're like, yeah, this is going to be able to get the ladies. We're in a band called Vertical Motion. You might as well have just called us the Virgin Marys, if I'm being honest. But here's the thing. I graduated Brentwood High School in 2006. And here's another fun music fact for you. So did Kesha. Kesha graduated Brentwood High School 2006. And I can't help but wonder, do you think I ever come up in the conversation when people talk about that? Do you think anyone's ever like, well, obviously we know Kesha graduated in 2006, but you know who else graduated in 2006? The lead guitar player for Vertical Motion. So you go from being a guitar player to being a youth pastor. That is just the trajectory of life. I was a youth pastor from 19 to 35, and I'll go ahead and thank you. And I'll go ahead and answer I'll answer the 2 questions you were all wondering. Yes, I still believe in God, and no, I didn't do that. But I was a youth pastor from my formative, young adult years, 19 all the way to 35, which means, while a lot of you in your 19s, 20s, and 21s were out having sex, drugs, and partying, and having lives and stuff like that, I was telling teenagers, don't do any of that. But there I was 2 years ago, for the first time as an adult, not a youth pastor anymore. So I could finally get some of that wild living everyone's been talking about. And let me tell you, I'll tell you the first thing I did. I went to Hooters for the first time. And I gotta say, I'm a fan. I didn't realize that beautiful women in not much clothing handing me chicken wings checked off a lot of boxes I never knew I had. And so, some of you are judging me for saying I like Hooters. And I just need you to know I am a single male in his mid-30s. I'm literally Hooters demographic, okay? And the thing is I was always afraid, am I gonna be the creepy guy at the restaurant? Like the creepy, that's your fear if you're a middle-aged single man, is you wake up and you're like, I'm gonna be the creepiest guy I know now. Like this is, in my 20s, I hope I find someone. And in my 30s, I was like, that's past, I just don't wanna be the weird guy who Facebook pokes everyone. So I go to Hooters at 12 in the afternoon on a Tuesday afternoon, and I'm like, this is the gateway drug to being that guy. This is it. And I wasn't the creepiest guy, but I did meet him. So the hostess, she takes me to the table, sits down. I propose to her. She says no. And then she goes back there, and then another dude comes in, and he looks around the restaurant, and he looks back at the hostess. He says, is Stacy working tonight? Yes, he was the correct reaction. And I think the only thing that would have been creepier is if he had said, it's okay, I'm a youth pastor. Okay, you guys were a little more pro-youth pastor than I was anticipating on that one. That's cool. Listen, here's the thing. Enough people have been on the stage and no one's talked about Fast and Furious. So I feel like that's my job as a comedian.
Yeah.
I do. I get irrationally defensive over Fast and Furious. I do. Not too long ago, someone said, man, I think they should have ended after 6. And without even thinking, I said, I think you should have ended after 6. I do run a Fast and Furious podcast. It's called the Quarter Mile Podcast. And the best part about running a podcast is you just shake your head so sadly. The best part is when you run a podcast and you have social media, all the weird usernames that follow you. That's my favorite part. So recently, Lucifer Morningstar followed me. You might know him from his previous works. And at first I was like, probably not a real person. I mean, seriously, I thought it was probably a real person, is what I'm going to say. But what if it was the devil? What if, like, my podcast is his favorite? Shut up. Every time you speak, a baby somewhere dies. And it's just the worst. He's not pro-life. Anyway, listen. The ending of the joke wasn't going to be that good. So he actually saved me on that one. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've been absolutely fantastic audience. That's been my time. You have a great one. I've been Drew.